Well, last season, it was perfection for Jacob Reed in the GTP, making a name for himself. One of the only men to score a perfect 250 in a season. But the only way to kick off a brand new year in the series is to actually kick it off here at the Nurburgring Nordschleife, the one place that Jacob Reed does not have a broadcast victory. What's going to happen today? We'll wait out and find out. It's round one of the IMSA Vintage live here on the Global SimRacing Channel, and I'm Craig King. Joining me in the booth is Jeremy Scott the cameras will be provided by Dougie Beard, but Daniel Costello is going to be using those cameras that he has provided for us. Now, Jake told me something very good when we talk about the Nordschleife. There's over 100 corners. It's kind of hard to do a track guide that describes every corner, but I think we've done it justice here as we go to the GSRC track guide.
Welcome to the Nurburgring Nordschleife. Most modern high-end series might use the GP circuit nowadays, but it will certainly never hold the respect and awe that the Northern Loop commands. Though it can be and is usually used in conjunction with the Grand Prix circuit for competitions in real life, here on iRacing, drivers can harken back to a time gone by and just run the 13-mile behemoth this place is known for. Nicknamed the Green Hell by three-time F1 world champion Sir Jackie Stewart, it is often regarded as the greatest test of a driver anywhere on the planet. Just looking at the stats will tell you why. More than 150 turns and close to 1,000 feet in elevation will pass you by in a single lap. Simply memorizing the course is half the battle for most drivers, let alone being fast. It goes without saying that this place is dangerous. Many fast corners lack runoff. There's blind apexes everywhere, and in a couple cases, even modern cars will get airborne. The list of famous turns is pretty lengthy, but some of the more notorious are places such as Flugplatz, Miss Hit Miss, Bravery Corner, and of course, the ever-iconic Carousel. It's not just the places where you've got to move the wheel that get attention too. The Dottinger Hoa stretches for more than 1.5 miles in length. While you would think this circuit would mainly be limited to the track days most gearheads flock to for a chance to lap the ring, it still sees quite a bit of wheel-to-wheel combat. The 24 Hours of the Nürburgring, the VLN Series, and the World Touring Car Championship all still take the track to this day. Many race fans consider this the mecca of road racing, and any driver who is able to push the limits here often quickly garners their respect.
Well, Jeremy, I know that this track is mainly about one straight, the Dottinger Hoa, but to get there, they have to navigate the whole of the rest of this track.
There's a reason why they call it the Green Hells, because you really have to master it. And there are some drivers who really haven't mastered it, in spite of them running multiple years. And of course, there's also a reason why we see a whole entire series devoted to this 24-hour race. Look at it, 16 miles, 25, almost 26 kilometers, 170 turns. Some of the friends who I know who've gone over there, they keep going back because there's just something special about that facility. And I'm excited to see what we can do with GTPs and GTOs here at the Nürburgring today.
Yeah, going to be interesting. I've never been here. We did talk about going there, me and the crew, but not at the moment. We have around. It's going to be interesting. We don't have to show any qualifying today, as we always know. It's detached qualifying, but it does give me a quick chance to let you know what the name of the game is today, because it's a little bit different today. As it's the Nordschleife, it's done laps, not time. So it's the equivalent of close enough to a 40-minute race. So it will be 6 laps around here today. It will be an open setup, like I always say, so the community provides some setups, or make your own setup. But if you crash, your day is done. There won't be a spare car out there. And to be fair, there's a lot of barriers out here today, so I don't think you'd be able to get back to the pits. Drive through at 17 incident points. I don't think you'll be seeing that today. And of course, a disqualification at 25. Again, something you don't usually see around here is people getting drive-through and disqualifications, so we'll wait to see. But the first round always is fun when these cars come to the Nordschleife, Jeremy.
Yeah, it really is, and it's going to be interesting, especially when you take a look at the lap times around here, 6, 7, 8 minutes. So you got to make sure that you are on your game. Of course, what we normally see with this IMSA Vintage series is, out-of-class traffic with the GTPs catching up to the GTOs. I don't think we're going to see too much of that with a 6-lap race, and if it is, it's because somebody had a major oopsie.
Yeah, well, you look at it as well, the timing, the delta between the two classes, 1:13 is the delta, really. So, and it's 6 laps, so unless you get a straggler, we've got 2 splits today. Probably won't be seen that. I will say, as we just go to qualifying, Valenteus was fastest in qualifying in both classes, but he's not driving both classes. He's in the GTP today. He will be pole position with Gabriel Martinez second fastest, just pipping Jacob Reed in third, with Ferenc Grau in fourth. And then Christopher Lesajak in fifth. Henning Swebeg will be sixth with Brendan Lim in seventh. Then it will be Laus Olsen eighth. David Ricciardi will be ninth. Shadi and Mad will be 10th. And just 13 GTPs today. Guilherme Luis is the last time qualifier here in 11th. Thomas Tuber will be 12th with Kane Currans in 13th.
Yeah, and you take a look at the GTOs, and in spite of it being, look, it's a slight difference from the lead to second place. Noah Lundberg with an 8-minute, 9-second lap. Then you got to go to Andreas Schuster with an 8:13. As you take a look at the grid right now, you get to see the time difference in the get to see the grid, I should say, with Van Tasen and Gabriel Martinez in row 1.
Yeah, Gabriel Martinez will be 2. Jacob Reed third. Ferenc Grau fourth. We were saying Lesajak will be 5th with Swebig in 6th. Then it's Brendan Lim in 7th and Laus Olsen in 8th with David Ricciardi in 9th and Shadi and Mad 10th. And again, we'll get to that second page. Only 3 more drivers. Guilherme Lewis in 11th. Thomas Tuber 12th and Kane Currans in 13th. Just 13 GTPs today compared to 21 GTOs.
Yeah, and that's going to be, that's what we normally see in most real races that have the 2 different classes, but this is quite different here with the Nurburgring. You see Noel Lundberg and Andreas Schuster, row 1, Cal Young, Arturs Kundelis, row 2, Joram Van Hicks, and Josephine Becker in row 3. They got Doug Cloud and Jack Wells making up row 4. Row 5, Ikola Kutsalo and Yoni Hagner in row 5. As we said, that's the top 10. Got 11 more competitors who are running here. Then you've got Fabian Youngbloth and Martin Krajcik in row 6, row 7, Roman Bello and Taylor Bellant. Then you've got Ian Haycox and Sam Svogard in row 8, row 9, Timothy Reed, and Hamilton Berea Ruiz, who did not log a time, first driver to do so, in row 9. Then you got Silver Jofford, Shane Hawkins, row 10, and shotgun down the field is Scott Lear in the 29.
Scott Lear, the only person on his own, as the drivers, as we get ready, have just come to the end of the Dottinger Hoa. So we are going to be getting ready for this race shortly. There's the lovely castle. I love seeing that screen. There's the cars just coming up as they've come down through the bridge. And it's going to be an interesting run because, remember, it's the combined layout. They'll head to the first corner of the F1 track, that very famous Ravenel S. And of course, they will also then hit the AMG Arena. And that will be interesting as the pace car still leads them off. If you watched the Skip Barbers earlier this week on Global SimRacing Channel, fantastic finish, 2 wide, almost 3 wide, coming up here to Tiergarten and the Hyundai S end corner. But now the pace car will just slightly dip off. Valenteus leads control. Reed is the man he wants to make sure he beats again. But Martinez will say, hold on, this is a 3-horse race. We wait for the green flag, and Valenteus is going to catch them napping, and it's a great start. And it's an even better start when you look at it for Jacob Reed. He's got that inside line to Gabriel Martinez. 13 GTPs will come on down. It'll be late braking for Martinez. Reed is on that inside corner, does get it, and also right behind, it's actually not the arena, sorry, it's the NLS layout, and Swebig just makes it an almost 3 wide in the GTOs.
Yeah, 3 wide for second place from Young, Van Hicks, and Schuster. And Young gets the advantage. Now everybody going to try and snake their way around that shortcut off the stadium. And so far, so good, as Lundberg gets a huge advantage. But Young and Schuster, as well as Van Hicks, all close in with one another. And we see this battle for position between Reed and Olsen. Reed gets it for the time being. But Brendan Lim in 8th spot, falling back just a little bit, as Ricciardi and Ahmad closing in for that 8th position.
Yeah, I haven't seen Shadi and Mad much recently, but still going on, and good to see Doug Cloud as well out there at the moment, still running in 8th. Just lost 1 spot. Big charges so far in the race. Well, Jacob Reed's had a bit of a moment out there to see in the timing tower. Did miss that. He's all the way down into 6th. But it's early days, still 2.5 seconds behind as we're watching Doug. This is going to be interesting because it's not a multi-class aspect today. But still, 21 GTOs, 13 GTPs. If this was a small track, we'd be looking at IMSA Vintage chaos out there today. But unfortunately, we're not going to get lap traffic. This is still a big field to play with the GTOs and such a small margin of error for the GTPs.
It really is, and really, if you take a look at it, it's like it is definitely two races. Harkens back to this era where we would see GTP-only races or GTO-only races, but those were on smaller tracks like Lime Rock. You'd see them in Columbus on some of the street circuits. You didn't think of seeing this at the Nurburgring Nordschleife, which actually, I think, would have been a little entertaining. As you take a look at the gap between Valenteus and Martinez, that's 1.3 seconds, a little bit bigger, a little bit more of a different gap than you would see anywhere else. Here comes Jacob Reed, trying to go on the outside, big crash. Reed smacks the wall to the outside, and that could be race over for Reed.
I think it is. There was the move on there. And I think what happened, he did cut it up. He did tighten the line a little bit. And Swebig, he just kept the line. Maybe could have kept the turning in. Massive damage as well. I can report he was lost control of the car when he was through the Goodyear spine. Just on the F1 circuit, a little tussle side by side with Gabriel Martinez, and that's a lot of damage. And in fact, if I'm seeing things right, let me just get my spirit level out. That's a very flat wing. He still has a wing. It's a two composite body here, so he's lucky enough to keep that. But that's a lot of damage. He's going to be down on top speed. I think that's race done for him.
No, I don't disagree, because, yeah, you take a look at the right rear, and it is tilted up a little bit in the bodywork. Looks like all four wheels are pointed quickly. And of course, that's how fast something happens here at the Nordschleife because of the undulations, the quick turns. One wrong move, and you will end up in the wall. It will eat you up. The walls love the cars as we're watching the battle for the lead. Not tightening up just yet. GT is really kind of taking it easy this first lap. As Schuster sits in third, you see Lundberg trying to hold off Cal Young a half second behind for position, and they're playing a lot nicer than the GTPs were, as we saw them earlier. Did see a position, and Heini Schweibig gets a mechanical black flag, and it looks like he incurred some damage with that incident.
No, it's actually another incident. He came to miss, and he went hit, miss, understeer, straight into the wall. And he's got, funny enough, I think he's got more damage than Jacob Reed's got, because Henning's got the mechanical black flag, which suggests maybe a little bit of steering damage. Jacob doesn't have any serious damage out there, so that we're already lost Thomas Tuber. We're going to be down to 9 GTPs. But this is the battle that's interesting, and this is the one I can't wait to see, because they will come down here, they will take the left, and then they'll take the right up X Miller. And Lundberg has managed to pull ahead of Cal Young. Cal's still got that slipstream. But after X Miller, you've got the louder legs. You've got Bergwerk, you've got Bergwerk going up the Kesselchen. That's uphill, Jeremy. As we know, if a car's going uphill and a car behind has got slipstream, well, 2 and 2 makes 4. The car behind will get the advantage when they come in to what is known in German as Klosterau.
Now, I've got to say this. I saw an article last night that said, people who say 2 + 2 = 5 might be right. So we'll see what happens. But, yeah, I don't disagree. Add those two together, and that's going to make the perfect storm. As look at how much Schuster's all over the back of Cal Young. It almost looks like one cars are going down the straightaway. It's about a half car length separating the two for position. The Australian, though, the interested spectator, should something go on with him. But he's also trying to catch up to Schuster. So this 2-car battle for second could turn into a 3-car battle for second. As you saw there for a second, Van Hicks took a look. Not going to make anything happen. You've really got to play your cards right here, especially in this opening lap. Now, we mentioned 6 laps on the books, prescribed distance, but still, one wrong move, and you might get the back of the pack, but it could be race over, because the gap right now from first all the way over to last in class is about 22 seconds.
Doug Cloud, Doug, what are you doing out there? Trying to make the move. Well, Hanika Costa-Salo, making that move as they were going up there. Very close to see what has happened as holds on He's lost a few positions, though. Not the best to start. Costa Salo as well, just on a net zero. But this is now where the rubber band starts to snap here, because you see, apart from Lumber, basically the top 6 are all together. Then the rest of the field, 7 to 8 to 9 to 10, they're on their own at the moment. These guys are basically on their own.
No, they really are, and it's interesting to see. Oh, looks like we do have a flasher out there. Not sure which one that is, but you see Van Hicks still in 4th place. Yeah, it's just different groups, and you're going to see that throughout the stanza of this race. But the good news is Lundberg has opened up a 1.2-second gap. It's a little bit of contact there with Van Hicks. Decides, I'm going to move you out of the way. Gets around Schuster with a little bit of shoulder coverage there.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what happened there. And I wonder if Schuster may have just lost the gear a little bit. Yeah, I think he didn't have to drive. Definitely was a lost gear. Had to make that move, because if you don't make that move there before you come down to this part of the track, you're going to have some trouble. And that was going down into Flat Garden. So needed to make that move before they came to the Stefan Belloff S's. So that just shakes things up a little bit. But what that also means is now you've got Noel and Cal on their own, and everyone's just here taking a different line. And you just see Van Hicks going a little bit too wide there. The kleiner carousel, the second carousel. Not seeing anything when we come to the GTPs, when we come here to the Dottinger. Everybody is basically so spread out. This is big time now. Does Van Hicks keep this, or are they going to start to play teamwork? Because they have lost 3 seconds to the rest of the field.
Well, here's the thing, too. Van Hicks has some damage, so that's really going to hurt his aerodynamics. It was on the right front, and there you go. He's already lost 2 spots, as now Kundelis moves up into 3rd place after passing, what was that, effectively 3 cars. Yeah, take a look at that damage there on Van Hicks. That's really going to hurt him. 3 wide for position. This is for 4th place. It's Becker going side by side. What some fantastic moves that we saw here.
Josephine's got to be careful. She was caught on a 3 wide in the Skip Barbers early this week at the same part of the track. Was the meet in the middle, and that's what you never want to be, trying to go up to Tiergarten. And the race was almost over for her, but kept going. But they want to try and work together here to see if they can get some time back, because right now that timing tower is correct. 4 seconds between Josephine Becker and Noah Lundberg, and even more using the F1 track to their advantage. You've got Joni Hagner trying to make some moves, and around the outside there of the infamous S's there, the old S's, what used to be before the arena was there, goes Joni Hagner on a Jack Wells, who, yep, he has come back into the GTOs.
What some fantastic racing we have here in this front of the pack of the GTO. Yeah, Cloud making his way up into 9th, trying to get around, trying to keep Catasalo away from him, but they're still side by side as they work their way through the hairpin. Cloud back into 10th, trying to get up 3 from his grid spot. He's lost those 3 in that last lap, but still hanging tough so far as Cloud gets that 9th spot back for the time being. Now sets the sights on Jack Wells, about a half second apart. And here's the thing, Greg, you take a look at, Noel Lundberg now is 0.7 of a second to be ahead of Cal Young, but Kundelis on back. Everybody has somebody to race with.
And here's a man who has nobody to race with. It's Valenteus, who's 3.5 seconds ahead of Gabri Martinez. And you've got to feel that Gabri's lost a little bit of that time after that incident with Jacob, then losing a little bit more time trying to keep up. And he's got Ferenc Grau and Lesacek right behind him, so that battle's going to be interesting for P2 later on in the lap. And we said later on in the lap, and that's the important part here when you come to the Nordschleife, is you got to be at the Dottinger to really make some moves, or maybe up the Kesselchen. Another place you could do it. I don't think you'd be able to do it before Arenberg, but these drivers do try. No, Lundberg, did it look like he had a little bit of damage on the side of the car there? No, I think it's just the way the car looks. Yeah, everything is fine there for the champion. He tried to defend, and this could be interesting because we don't have the champion in GTP running at the moment, but the champion of last season in GTO, Noah Lundberg, well, he's got some company finally, as Cal Young has managed to catch up to the back of him.
It was only a matter of time between the two catching up to one another. In spite of Young running just a little bit slower lap time last time by, but man, this battle between Cundless, Van Hicks, and Becker, it just keeps getting better and better. Van Hicks not letting the damage stray him as he goes around the outside, still holding on full throttle. Oh, that was a fantastic move. That thump you hear, by the way, in the cojones up against the car.
Yeah, you can hear that. A great move from Van Hicks. Knows that he needs to use his advantage. And I also wonder, he may have a little bit of damage, but maybe I hear the sound of a bottle opening there. I think the champagne may have been open because he knows he needs to get ahead of Cundless, and also he knows Schuster's behind, Joni Hankman's behind. I know it's early days of the championship, but if you can keep some of these big names away from you at the first race of the season, it sets a little bit of precedence here, so that's going to be interesting. Oh, a mistake though from Van Hicks. I did just see that there, a little bit of a mistake as they came in at Termagant Field, and now Callan Hart, they'll go down. Timothy Reed, well, we've got one Reed battling, and it's him on Taylor Belland, who, again, not a name we see a lot of, but that's the thing with this race sometimes, Jeremy. When it's a Nordschleife week, you get the Ringmeisters. No matter what the car is, those that love this track will just race this track regardless.
No, they really do, and they will be a one race show, and that's it for them, because it's a cult classic like you see some of the other facilities on iRacing itself. Is Timothy Reed, who normally we see up near the front, trying to get around Belland for that 14th spot. And there were just some drivers who were just like, I'll run it just to run, and others just absolutely skip it. But regardless, this is one of those facilities which it just takes man and machine to absolutely conquer. We see Valenteia, so it doesn't matter what track it is, what car it is. Yeah, he's just going to dominate almost 6 seconds up at the front. So that's why we're watching a lot of these GTO battles, including this one back in the pack.
Yeah, there are battles everywhere on the track for the GTOs. In fact, I think there's only about half a dozen cars not battling somebody. That just goes to show in this 21 car GTO field how good it is. But LaserJack has caught up to the back of Ferran Grau, and Ferran is trying to catch up to Gabriel Martinez. So this could be quite interesting when they come up to the Dottinger. Usually you say about 1.2 seconds in these old school cars to really look for a move, and Cao Young was able to use the that slipstream going up the Kesselchen to Klostertau, or as we say in English, Bravery Corner. Now it's going to be interesting to see what Grau can do to Gabriel Martinez. Can LaserJack catch up here? This is where the pack, these three will start to bunch up. Interesting that Grau lost time to Gabriel down here, but again, the shock of the week, I feel, is that Gabriel Martinez was second fastest in qualifying, only just missed out to Valenteas. Never knew he had that pace, but we have to ignore Gabriel because LaserJack right on the back of Grau here, using all the overspeed. Once he pulls out that speed, will die as he comes down the hill. He'll take this position. I think Grau might just lift. Grau's not lifting. Grau's not lifting. Got more speed as they go up the hill. And finally, as they come to the second part of Tiergarten, he just has to say no.
And I was going to say, because of the hole that these GTPs are punching, here comes Grau once again, going to try and go back and make a battle of this as they're side by side at the line. 0.048 seconds separates the two of them. It's even closer. They're leaning on each other going into that first corner, and Olenchak gets that position, but he slides just a little bit, gives Grau a chance to go around the outside. High, wide, and handsome. Thank you very much. Grau takes third spot, and let's see if Olenchak just going to sit there and draft and wait for the next opportunity, because the way, as you see the way these cars are, it's just going to punch a huge hole in the air, and it's almost like you're going fishing at the neighborhood pond. You're going to catch something. It's just a matter of how fast will you catch it and when will you. Back to the battle for position in third between Van Hicks, Cundless, and Becker. Oh, look at the jump. I absolutely love those camera shots where you see the cars just go over the jump and just get all four wheels there. You see just so much sky there, but Van Hicks not letting the damage hurt to him at all, still sitting in third. Becker, tell you what, she's doing a great job hanging with the boys there in that fifth spot.
Yeah, it's going to be the year of Josephine Becker, I feel, after last season. The last couple of seasons, she has been dominant out there in whatever she has driven, and she's done really well So it could be interesting. Jack Wells also back there. And these guys, it's going to be interesting to see how all these cars just start to attack the Dottinger this time. I do see Cow. I think he may have some damage or something, but I need to keep a lookout because all of a sudden, he's clean. He's clean. Don't worry, we don't need to go to it. He's clean. But remember I was saying he came up to Bravery and he was a good almost half a second behind Lundberg. Yeah, he's now 4 seconds behind. Something has happened to Cow, and that's going to allow some of these drivers to make some moves. Joni Hagner isn't looking for anything. Up ahead, Kundelis is pushing Van Hicks at the moment. That is how much they want to just hold on to this. There he is. In fact, look at him. I think he realized it. If I push Johan, the others can't catch me. Becker's not even attempting it. Schuster's not even attempting it. The Cloud is attempting a move here. He'll go around the outside of Joni Hagner. He will take that position. Next up is Jack Wells. It's a waiting game, but they're about to hit the halfway stage. They're about to hit lap 3 here, Jeremy. Might want to be a little bit more aggressive if you want to make more moves.
Exactly, and I think that's going to he's one more spot away from where he qualified, so that's the good news. He's made up those positions. Now he's got to worry about getting around Wells and using the two of them to really get up there and make some haze. He looks to the inside, and there he goes. He's going to make that position. Ooh, a little bit of a dip there, and he's going to try it on the outside, but here comes Hagner. Hagner wants that spot back as well. They're close to leaning on each other going through the S. They are. Look at that wiggle there as Hagner's going to go a little bit wide, hit the gravel, and go off-roading, something you definitely don't want to do in the Grand Prix section. At least you have the room to do it, though.
Yeah, have the room. I think they were just trying to just tighten each other up there a little bit. Got a bit too close to one another there. It's the icebreaker stage of the race. Just trying to get some moves, but now Doug's just a little, I think the tire's a little bit too hot after that slide. He tried to catch it. That would have been a really good catch if he caught it, but did not get it. So now he's just going to have to let the tires cool themselves down. And another man that needs to let things cool down, Jack, because I think what happened is we go on the 007 cam. Actually, hang on 1 second. Hey, I've just realized that's Gabriel Martinez who was in second with such a good lead. What has happened to Gabri here? Something has happened somewhere on the track for Gabri. It was Arenberg. He lost the car under Arenberg into the killing litter, and now he's having to play attack. And I'll tell you what, I think he's a little bit flustered there, Jeremy. The way he's driving right now, it looks a little bit hot-headed. I've seen this before by drivers when they make a mistake. They think to themselves, I shouldn't be doing that. I shouldn't be doing that. I'm better than this. I'm better than this. And he just loses more time.
Yeah, exactly. That's why the best drivers have goldfish memory, just short memory, so they don't screw up. I did, while we were watching that insane battle there for position, right there in the 7th, 8th spot, I did see Grau make his way to the second. I'm like, something happened there that we missed. But that's going to happen here at the Nurburgring. There's so much to play for, so much going on, as Laust Olsen now reeling in Ahmad as they're side-by-side for position. This is very sketchy, very sketchy. Olsen takes a position, shuts the front door, and moves ahead of Ahmad. Ahmad, do what he can to try and catch up to Olsen and see if he can get that spot back, but this is such a tough section to try and make any sort of move.
Yeah, I tell you what, that was very brave of him right before Klostatow to go around the outside there going up the hill. He knew on that little kink he had to go around the outside to make sure he had the inside in case they were side by side. Some real heads-up driving from the veteran there as Andreas Jungster continues to look for more time now. Right behind this pack now, the worst place you want to be, especially with a little bit of damage on the rear of that car after that misshift that Van Hicks also got caught up in. It's the last place you want to be at the back. It's almost like a super speedway. If you've got some damage and you're the last car in the pack, well, you better hope that you can keep up and the others are going a little bit slower. And that's what he is doing right now. He's just hoping, but look at the cars ahead of him. Josephine Becker, Artur Kundelis, Johan Van Hicks. Van Hicks is catching up to Cal Young. I think this is just going to have to be, Jeremy, a battle for second, because Noah Lundberg last time out did an 8-10. No one's even done an 8-11 in this pack. They're still doing 8-12s and 8-13s.
Well, you saw qualifying. Lundberg was about 4 seconds faster than really Schuster or Young, so no surprise that Lundberg really has the number here of everybody else. And it's interesting to see Valenteus also about 3-4 seconds faster than everybody else. So your leaders, basically, if they're in good. As Luis gets a mechanical black flag to race over for the number 32. As watching Olencek trying to catch up to Martinez and Grau there for the bottom step of the podium. Let's see what happens down the straightaway. If everybody decides to play nice, if they're going to tuck in, or if they're going to make some sort of move here going into the Grand Prix circuit.
Well, Ferrin put his car in the middle of the track, and Gabri had to pick a side. Almost coming together. Grau's not going to give this up. He tried this before, and he's going to cheat this again. And around the outside, the first part, he got it. And that's Gabri Martinez not slowing down in time. And was that Ferrin slowing down a bit too much? One thing's for sure, Grau is in the wall, and he is out of the race. That is unfortunate. Absolute drama out there. Absolute drama, and I do wonder if there's any damage there on the back of Gabri's car, on the front of Gabri's car. I'm not entirely sure. No, in fact, the car is okay. Just a little bit of a tap, but that's the danger going up Tiergarten. And you knew, especially with the way that Ferrin did it last time on Christoph, he was going to fight that, and he tried to fight that. He did a really good move. Unfortunately, what happened, and one man's in the pits, one man's still driving, and one man's got hot tires, and Christoph is trying to fight this as Gabri went a little bit wide on the cammering there of the Dolores, and almost the rear, almost got pit maneuvered from Jack.
Yeah, that's just the nature of this series, of this car, and really we've gone to attrition here in GTP as Van Hicks now has reeled in Cal Young. Oh boy, this is going to be interesting to see how long it takes for Van Hicks to close into Young. But then again, that requires Gundelis and Becker all to play nice. Would not be surprised if they get to second place and they decide they want to mix it up a lot. And this is just absolutely fantastic. Now that we have that incident, we were down to 7 GTPs. So this is essentially also a battle for the top 10 overall. So a lot to play for here as we see Van Hicks losing just a little bit of ground, but still able to have in his sights the 6 of Cal Young as they go over the jump, set themselves up once again. This is absolutely fantastic. And I'll tell you what, Van Hicks, he's going 10-10s. You see that number 5 just hanging it all out through the corners as that back end likes to step out just enough to get the grip, but not enough to lose it.
Yeah, I wonder if he's just got a little bit of a looser setup compared to Cal. Cal's more of a metronomical driver out there, as Johan just likes to just put it all on the line. And I saw Arturus saw Johan taking a later entry there for the Kleiner Carousel, and I do wonder if that just put a little bit of thought into his head to make this, and that may affect him trying to catch up to Cal. But Gundelis did allow him a little bit of a reprieve last time by, did a little bit of bump drafting, so I wonder if that's going to happen. I'm just looking as well because the timing tower does say 0.088 for Lesajak and Martinez. Nothing's happening there. They're just right behind one another. Lesajak did make the move. But now this is what happens. Is the mean green machine of Arturus Gundelis, who's still got the championship lead from a few seasons ago, on the back? No. What about Jack Wells, though? Jack trying to battle Joni Hagner. Joni's got up 2 positions this time. But I feel this is Jack playing mind games. He lifted, he let Joni have that position, so right as they come to bridge, he can say, Danke schön, and he retake that position. That's a real good heads-up move down the Dottinger for Jack Wells.
It really is, and you know, it's a smart move, it's a calculated move, because he probably thought, had he made the move earlier, could have given Hagner a chance to really close in, as Schuster gets around Becker? Okay, we'll see what happens there. But Wells making his way up one position from his grid. So whatever incident he had earlier, that really happened. And here's the problem, too. I'm watching this battle for second place, and we're seeing Kundelist, Van Hicks, Schuster all battle one another. Martinez still holding on to the back of Olenek as they work their way through the early part of the fourth lap, I should say. So still got a couple of laps left to go, lot to play for, but even on the last lap, still plenty of opportunities to make something happen. We're just past 16 minutes left to go in this race, so there's still so much track and territory to go through. Valentejus, he's already halfway to Hockenheim at this point, as he's got a 14, 15-second lead. Here comes Martinez closing in on Olenek. Oh, almost could have made a move there, but still falling back, getting forward. That's what Martinez needs to do if he wants to get in that second place again.
Yeah, I think Gabri, he would have had a move there, but at Clotetau, the track just starts to close up a little bit there. Going to have to wait for an opportunity. Just an update, you see on the timing tower that Van Hicks has gone into fourth position, came around the S's there at the start of the track there. Unfortunately, lost the gear, it looked like. Went a little bit wide. I think through the whole section, he was on the clutch and he could not get a gear. So he lost a little bit of time. He's going to have to try and work it back up there. Kundelitz losing out to Cao Young, but this is the main battle right now for P2. And the Lesachak has worked his way up. I talk about the big movers. Everybody who has made positions today, who's still on the track in GTP, have all gained 3 positions. Jacob Reed is back out racing. Henning Swebek had to take a retirement. Thomas Tuba crashed to start the race. Baron Grau is done for the day. And we also saw Louis as well out there. So we do have 8 drivers, but unfortunately, really, let's call it 7. Reed's just going around for basically a way to salvage some safety rating and try not to make the damage for the iRacing tough. But Gabri's starting to lose out a little bit as there's no jump there, Jeremy. Sorry to disappoint you. No jump on the GTPs there. But I do feel that gap is a little bit too wide for Gabri.
No, it's just the downforce that the GTPs have. No surprise there compared to the GTOs. And, this is such a great battle. I would much rather see something like this because of the pure speed and just listening to the turbo kickback once the drivers get off. That is just... Oh, I absolutely love this, but this is such a tight battle to see who's going to step out where in the podium, because you've got that battle for second there. Behind them, you've got Lim and Olsen in a battle for fourth place. So a couple good battles in GTP in spite of the leader running away and hiding. Let's stay on board with this, because look at how fast Martinez catches up. He's going to take second place. Let's see how long that Martinez stays in second place, because Olenek now has a chance to catch up to the draft. Oh yeah, Olenek gonna pop out right by the pits for the toll laps, as Martinez now loses in his third for the time being. They're still side by side. You don't want to make anything side by side. Martinez with a wiggle, and thank goodness he almost lost it there, but discretion is the better part of valor. Let Olenek get ahead and try again in this lap.
Yeah, actually, real good heads up there from Lesachak. He actually did what Jack did. Real good there. He didn't want to try and defend against Gabri. He wanted to attack Gabri. So they came up to the dotting and he decided not to do it. Late braking from Gabri. And he goes in once. He goes in twice there on a Lesachak. And I think the overspeed may have caught him out there, because that's a real late break and he could not get that car slowed down. And Lesachak goes around. In fact, he does get the car going again. Some 4 seconds, because behind, they are battling. Lars Olsen, Brendan Limbs had a fantastic little battle out there. Olsen holds on. You're not missing anything in those GTOs. We thought about it, Jeremy. Let's just talk about this for a moment. We thought to ourselves, well, 21 GTOs. We've had a few retirements early in the GTP. Probably won't be a very explosive GTP battle. Oh, how wrong we were.
I mean, it's IMSA Vintage. Anytime you think, all right, this is going to be a nice, calm, cool, collective race, might have some passes, the overlords laugh, and then the bishops go, yeah, no, this isn't how it's going to be. We have seen nothing but spectacular battles all race long, whether it be somewhere for position or even fighting for the podium. But we've seen some incidents which have really made you scratch your heads, especially this most recent one with Martinez Martinez now solidly in second place. We're back to the battle between Cloud, Wells, and Hagner. You see Hagner up at the front there as Doug Cloud trying to get back into that 7th spot that he was there. And what's interesting is, that's what I love about this place. You can be up 3 or 4 positions in one lap and be down those same positions later on halfway through the lap. It's just a matter of how you work your way around the facility.
And that's what makes the black box really hard to look at sometimes when you're in a sprint race, because the black box will only update on the start when you cross the start-finish line. So you can see a guy that started the lap 3rd, and all of a sudden you get to here and he's 5th, and you get to Cluster Tower and he's 6th, and you're thinking, we must have damage. No, it's just the pack racing. And this is a 4-car pack. You've still got that 4-car pack as well for 3rd position at the front of the GTO. This is just the way the racing goes, and no one's looking for an opportunity. Down this fantastic place, down Whipperman, down into X-Pac they'll go. And now they'll be coming down one more time to go into Brutzen. Josephine Becker is well up ahead. She has done well. She just has to hold, and that's the name of the game around here when you're in any sort of race like this. Hold the position. Wait for your opportunity. She's done fantastic today to hold up. Schuster, though, starting to lose some time. So is Gundelis. They're starting to break up a little bit. Be careful, Jeremy. I might hear that elastic band snapping very soon.
Yeah, exactly, because you pull it so much and it's going to get weaker. It's going to get weaker. It may not look weaker, but the second that it snaps, it's going to be game over. You don't want to you don't want to play fire per se with the elastic band. But I'll tell you what, Becker, she's doing so good at really trying to keep her own. I would say now she is at interested spectator territory, watching Schuster, Gundelis, and Van Hicks just go toe-to-toe with each other, because one wrong move and she's going to be able to capitalize. She doesn't have to worry too much about, where's the driver going to be when they come around, as once again they open up a little bit bigger gap, but still with just at least one lap to go. It's gonna be quite interesting to see where everybody ends up here once we hit 0 on the clock.
Well, they come to the dotting, and remember, it's laps, not time. So there will be one more lap after this, but of course the GTOs, they have to start the penultimate lap. Now, Valenteus is halfway through the penultimate lap right now. He won't catch any of the traffic regardless, but this is going to be interesting right now. Becker still looking for opportunity. Up ahead, Johan Van Hick is getting a little bit of a bump. There they are, nice little friendly tap there. Let's just introduce each other. Hi, you're a former champion, I'm a former champion. You're a man with a lot of legacy. You've almost beaten me with a lot of legacy. As Gundelis continues on, I don't think he got that nose damage from just doing that little bump draft there. Let's not worry too much about that. I'd be very surprised if he does. I love that shot. I absolutely love any shot around the carousel. Absolutely fantastic.
It really is, and honestly, it's one of my bucket list tracks to notch off and actually spectate, maybe do some corner marshalling even, because who doesn't want to be trackside during one of these races, whether it's 4 hours, but yeah, 22.79 seconds, 23 seconds. It's just comical how fast Valenteus is around here. Last time by, he set his fast lap, Craig, at a 7-minute 4-second time around the green hell. That's just mind-boggling. He was the only man in qualifying this week, the only man so far in qualifying this week, or driver this week, to do a sub-7. Let's just look at the names here. Gabriel Martinez with a 7 flat 232. Jacob Reed, a 7 flat 602. Ferret Grau was a 702. Alenta Jacket, almost a 703. Like, we look at that 3-second gap Lundberg had over everybody. But then the idea that Valenteus hit the barrier. He's like the Roger Bannister right now of GTPs around here. And again, we talk about this every time. He set the fastest lap in qualifying in a GTO, which says to me in some of the other races this week, that's not the broadcast races, the hot splits, he was doing a GTO race. So this man, after last season, where he lost the championship to Jacob Reed, I think he's a man on with a mission this season, because this is just clinical driving. Look, It's Audrius Valenteus' world. We're all just living in it. As he works his way down the straightaway, he'll look at Barney and he will get the white flag when he crosses the line on the Grand Prix circuit. It's just amazing how good that he is, that he can just hop into any car and be up near the front. I'm just absolutely astounded by how good Valenteus has been this race to open up such a big gap. Of course, a lot of it too is the competitors behind him, they've been racing for position. Valenteus, though, he's been racing his own race. Let's see what he does across the line to get the white flag. 1 lap to go. Out of Valenteus, 7:02.557. Holy cow.
Mike, this is the man just racing on his own. The fuel started to burn off. He doesn't care anymore. 7:02.557. Again, that's only 3 seconds slower than what he did in qualifying. I'm curious to see what Gabriel's going to do. In fact, actually, where is Christoph? Christoph should be second. Christoph should be second. He's got damage on the rear wing. Has there been a moment for a Lesnachak out there? There has. There is damage on the rear wing. I'm just having a look back to see what has happened there. It's definitely not an incident between other drivers. That looks like a self-imposed moment. And especially if it's on the rear, that is going to be, well, I just keep looking back. I think this is early on in the lap. I would not be surprised. That was actually the story. That was the damage caused from Gabriel. I apologize. It's been so long ago, Jeremy. I didn't realize it.
You know, it's amazing what happens in a whole lap. And yeah, I forgot that those two got into each other. But Laust Olsen did catch up to Olenjak for that 3rd spot. So that's going to be a race to watch here as they keep closing in. This has been an absolute banger of a race all race long between Van Hicks, Kundelis, Schuster, and Becker, as those 4 have been just going tooth and nail all race long, catching up to one another. Granted, they haven't really made too much of position, but I have a feeling when they cross the line for the penultimate time that they will start to put the elbows out a little bit, put the gloves on, and get ready for an all-out fight here for this final lap.
Now they're on the slipstream, and they'll be coming up very shortly to Breakwork, and then the Kessel Chen, and then Klostertal, Bravery Corner. And I'm looking. The last few times they've been by, Kundelis has just said to Van Hicks, go. You're so bunched up. You're going up the hill right now. You're going up the green hell. And you cannot do that. What you can do is you can watch Valenteus just absolutely dominate out here today. And I mean dominate. He's not had anybody to race, so it's just been a Saturday drive for the man. And look at him. He's just enjoying it. He comes through Arenberg with not a lot of problems. I wonder, what we're going to be looking at when we come in about another 5 minutes, I feel we're going to be seeing this guy put a 7:01 in that 4-car tussle going up to Klostertal. Nothing has changed. Everything has stayed the same. Laust Olsen, by the way, has just overtaken Lesnachak. Christoph does not have the speed anymore when it comes to any straight lining.
So on our timing screen, we have the dots where they're moving. And we mentioned that with this race, very good chance that the leaders would not catch up to the back of GTP traffic and have a mixed race. Now, if we were to go one more lap, different story. Because if you look at how close Valenteus is on the back of Haycox, it would take him 1 lap to catch up to the back of the GTO traffic. So this just goes to show how good of a race Valenteus is having here at the Nordschleife, 26 seconds ahead of Martinez, as this is just absolutely spectacular for position. Olsen, as we said, in 3rd. Olenchek still trying to hold on to that 4th spot, but also look at who's catching up. It's Brendan Lim in the 15 right now in 5th place, about 1.8 seconds back.
Well, we've had one retiree, the second retiree of the day in GTO to Doug Cloud. Went through the carousel, got on the throttle a bit too early and went over the lip as you exit the carousel. The car said no. The car said meet the wall, and unfortunately for Doug, that's his day done. He'll take a total. He won't be able to get back out on track. Watch this. Last time we were here, we had this magical race. with Valenteus and Jacob Reed. And what made it magical was, while they weren't attacking, they were constantly 3/10 between each other. In fact, by the way, Jacob Reed, he's got a fast car. He's just decided, screw you, Valenteus. He just set a 7:02.2. Valenteus, there is no bonus points here for fastest lap in IMSA Vintage like in the other Vintage series. But you've got to feel that Valenteus is just going to go, sorry, I take that personally. I know you're going to be another 4 minutes around, and somehow Jacob Reed is still on the lead lap. But he's just going to say, sorry, that is my fastest lap. I wouldn't be surprised if he does try to get that.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if Valenteus decides to just drop the hammer and get that fastest lap again. It's just pride at this point between Reed and Valenteus. As Reed, got to say this. At least there's one thing about having some problems. He's still on the he's still in the lead lap, and Brendan Lim has now made his way up to 4th, as looks like Van Hicks has fallen off to 4th in GTO, as Kundelis now has that position, and Becker has gotten around Schuster to get into the top 5.
They're free wide, and Becker's gone ahead. Kundelis decided now's the time to attack. I think it's a lap too late. Becker's going to try and do this, and she'll cake this. She gets into P3, but this is going to be tough to defend this. The GTOs finally see the white flag, and Valenteus is just a few more corners away from getting onto the Dottingerhoa. These guys and girls and drivers have got one more lap to go. That's Cal Young. The gap is 2.6 seconds between Young and Becker in this pack. But the key thing is that Young was a second slower last time. Van Hick's going to try and go around the outside. Becker goes to defense. She's locked up. And now the inside belongs to Van Hick. He'll take it. Now the inside's open. Is there a move for Kundelis? There isn't. But now we have to look, because coming around the Schwabenswads, and they still go side by side. Valenteus is on the lot. It's on the Dottinger. Is there still moves here? For Becker, the rawest time to go. It's Lance Stroll. Van Hicks takes that position back. Valenteus is going to try and just dominate this right now. He'll get a quick slipstream from Ian Haycox, who's not had a day to remember out there. He will come home in 19th position, maybe even 20th, because of Doug's retirement. He may lift. Is he giving a toe? This is not good for Valenteus if he wants the fastest lap. He doesn't care. In fact, he just started lifting. In fact, I think he was going to say, Ian, do you want to go around again? And Ian said, yeah, go on, I'll do it. Valenteus, absolute dominance today, was never threatened after the first few corners. He takes the victory today in Nordschleife. It is 2 from 2 for Nordschleife and IMSA Vintage. Not the fastest lap. He won't care one bit.
No, it's preserve the equipment, come home, and let everybody who's on the track finish on the lead lap. Gabri Martinez let the elbows out just a little bit a couple of laps ago. God, it seems so long ago that happened, but got to come around the final corner, set down the pit straightaway, and Martinez finishes off in 2nd place. And look who's in 3rd. It's Laust Olsen in the 21. What a fantastic drive, up 5 spots from the start of the race. Of course, still watching this battle for 3rd in the GTO class between Van Hicks, Becker, Kundelis, and Schuster. I would say you put a blanket over all 3 of those as they work their way around in Nurburgring. 7.6 seconds, absolutely dominating, almost taking off there. And that kind of is just, you know, shows how good he has been so far this race.
He is the defending champion for a reason, and he loves this track, and he really did it. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's even used a setup from Mickey Friesen. Shout out to Mickey Friesen, by the way, because when the GTOs did the Ringmeister at the end of last season, it was Mickey's setup that everyone was driving in that 5th series as Nurburgring continues on. Nurburgring's got a almost 8-second gap to Cal Young. Cal's extended that gap as well to Van Hicks and Becker because they were battling. In fact, Van Hicks, Becker, Kundelis, and Schuster all together as they hit down Arenberg. As we watch Nurburgring just going a little bit radio style at the moment. Becker looking for an opportunity down the hill, going into the compression. Nothing to be seen. They're all just sitting patiently. And I think the directors here probably got the eyes on Nurburgring. I think he's trying to do a Murray Walker on Damon Hill here at the moment in the 96 Monaco Grand Prix. Don't curse the man. He's driving fantastically.
absolutely stellar for the leader in GTO, your defending series champion. Still looking pretty good, and I've been watching timing sheets on Van Hicks, Becker, Kundelis, and Schuster. We'll see if they decide to go 3 wide or even 4 wide down the straightaway here, but it's all Nurburgring in the number 4, the Audi, making its way around the circuit to really go now 8 seconds ahead of Cal Young. How about Cal Young? Have a day for him. Second place, really was able to hold off Van Hicks in crew a little bit earlier on, and now both have all separated from one another. So it's just a matter of who's going to step on that bottom step of the podium, as Nurburgring once again, sparks flying everywhere, but really does not matter.
Yeah, it does not matter as well. You've not missed anything in the other battle. Van Hicks still has that as they head up to X-Muller right now. And the 4 of them all now battling. Schuster's losing a little bit of time in the back of the 4. Kundal is still there. He's technically 5th. And Becker's right behind Van Hicks. And we always say when we come to a slipstream battle, look for the person in 3rd. Well, 3rd in the row would be Kundelis as they come around Bergwerk up the hill. They will hit the Kessel Chen. It'd be interesting to see if anybody looks for a move this time by, as Nurburgring hits that as well. Here we go again. I do wonder. Van Hicks takes the line. He takes that racing line. What is there for Becker? I think Becker, yeah, she's lifting. That's smart. Josephine doesn't want any of this right now, Jeremy. She's happy enough because I think she realizes if she takes that lead, if this group, she's going to lose it.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be interesting to see how she tucks in, because if she doesn't make that move, I think Kundelis and Schuster might make the move there on the straightaway, but everybody kind of single file in a snake formation as we go back to Nurburgring. I'll tell you what, it's been a race for him. It's been a race. Basically, everyone in the top 6 having a fantastic race here as they're taking
sorry, Becker's gone wide. Sorry, Becker's gone wide at the carousel. She's lost the positions. She's lost all the positions out there, and she's now gone to the back of this queue. Sorry, Jeremy.
No, but of course, I guess we could say that's the director's curse right there. He kept saying, nothing's going to happen, nothing's going to happen. Sure enough, Becker falling out of line, but not falling too far back on the timing screen. There's Cal Young. We haven't seen much of him, as really he's been in 2nd place, having his own race, had to defend. And Craig, how much you want to bet that Costello is just trying to hex something into happening?
I don't know, man. I think he would love something to happen. We've got to wait to see if anything happens as they hit the road for the final time. This is the part of the track that a lot of drivers love to drive, because you work out what's the flat curves, what's the raised curves, what can I attack, when can I turn in early. It's a fantastic section of racetrack there as they hit the dip into the YouTube corner, then up they go again. And now they'll hit the flats garden. I love flats garden. We get to see the cars just bounce a little bit, but Schuster and Becker's lost a lot of time here. I think that mistake from Josephine at the carousel might have cost both of them. She may just have to settle for the P6 here, or maybe the battle for P5 as Schuster's losing it down into what used to be the Flat Garden slide. Now the Beloff S's as Kundelis looking for an opportunity, or just setting himself up for an opportunity, because the last thing he wants is to see Van Hicks making a mistake here at the Kleiner Carousel. I don't think he'll be making a mistake, knock on wood, but that would be more beneficial there for Johan over Kundelis, but we'll get to see it. This is the big fit. There's also Yoni Hagden, Jack Wells, and Cotasalo having a little bit of a battle just down behind them in the road. But the leader of the GTO, Noah Lundberg, there he is on his own, down the dotting at 10 seconds to the good to Cal Young. Cal Young's 5 seconds ahead of that battle we were looking at. Everybody's hit the dotting now, and it's going to be interesting to see who makes moves. And I do wonder, there's Cal Young in the background. You might just see, there it is. You see some battles. Kundelis has gone for it. Kundelis has gone for it. He's going to make the move, and I don't think anything there is going to happen for Van Hicks. Noah Lundberg's going to get the victory in the GTO, that's for sure. Cal Young will get the P2. Then meanwhile for third, they're side by side. Van Hicks is side by side with Arturus Kundelis, and they go up to Tiergarten, and it's Van Hicks later on the braking. Josephine Becker gets on by, but she will have to just contend unless there's a drag to the line for this P5. Kundelis will get that P4. Van Hicks with a great drive into P3. And there could be some last fireworks. It will be all for naught. Lundberg, Young, Van Hick, Kundelis, Becker, Schuster, and right behind, a little bit of a drag battle, but Joni Hagner holds off Ika Costa-Salo.
Once again, another classic IMSA Vintage finish. Yeah, I've got to say this is absolutely spectacular. Youngblood coming across the line. He'll finish off in 10th place with Roman Bello sitting there in 11th. Still got a couple of more cars to come by. Timothy Reed with the finish into 12th. And this is absolutely, it was a great race because no matter where you looked, somebody was battling with somebody except for the leaders.
Yeah, somebody was battling as well. Shane Hawkins, by the way, biggest mover in the G in altogether today. 7 places gained for Shane Hawkins. Hamilton Barrera Ruiz will get 4 places, as we always like to count them all back in. Just one more man to really look at. Ian Haycox is the last man who we will get to see. Had a chance to, had a chance to not do this last lap, but no, he wanted to make sure of it. Roman Bello will come home in 11th, but Sam Skogard will be 18th. Ian Haycox will be the last man to cross the line. And when that happens, he's crossed the line. We can confirm the unofficial results. If that makes sense in my head, it doesn't make sense in broadcast. Valenteus will be the winner today. 26. Yes, 26.6 seconds ahead of Gabriel Martinez in P2, and then Jacob Reed. It is showing zeros, but you don't need to see the timing gap. Jacob Reed. Sorry, Lars Olsen. This is actually qualifying. I do apologize. Valenteus will be the winner. Gabriel Martinez second. Lars Olsen third. Alonso Jack will be fourth with Brendan Lim in fifth. There we go. And then it will be Alonso Jack fourth. Brendan Lim fifth. David Ricciardi will be sixth. Shadi Ahmad seventh. Jacob Reed will be eighth. Ferenc Grau will be ninth. Guilherme Lewis will be 10th. Henning Swebeck 11th. Retired early. So did Thomas Tuber in 12th. Kane Currens did sign up but was not here today. We get to the GTOs, Jeremy. That looks like it's a Noel Lundberg win.
Yeah, a dominating win by Noel Lundberg, about 10 seconds over Cal Young. That was Van Hicks rounding out your podium with Arturas Kundelis, Josephine Becker rounding out your top 5. Andres Schuster finishing 6th. Jack Wells able to get up into 7th place with Joni Hagner, Ika Costello, and Fabian Youngblood rounding out your top 10. That's Romain Bello. Timothy Reed in 12th. 13th goes to Shane Hawkins. 14th is Hamilton Barria Ruiz. Then Bellant, Krejnik, Lear, Skovgaard, Haycox, Cloud, and Joffer, who was 2 laps down in 21st.
Well, that's the results done. Our timing's a little bit broken. That's just a Nordschleife. Always happens when we come to Germany. But we do have an interviewing because it's been a while since I've had to talk to this man. And it's great to see him back on the podium. Lars Olsen, welcome back to the podium. How does it feel?
Thanks. It was a nice surprise, so it feels great.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is always a race where you either battle, some people race it for safety rating, some people race it to say they've done it. It felt like you were just right place, right time with everyone just being over aggressive. Did you have a game plan, or was it just drive and just have fun?
Trying to survive. All the races before today, this week, I've been finding curbs, bumps, guardrails, myself needing repairs and ending up in the bottom end of the field. So it was, trying to survive, and still it almost ended badly several times, losing positions to Brendan and Shady. But we had a fun battle. And ended up being a really fun race.
Yeah, it's a really fun race. It's great to see you back again. I know you didn't do a full season last time out. You're still on the recovery. I've got to ask: are we going to be seeing more from you this season? Are you hoping to try and do a full season, or are you just going to be picking and choosing?
I'm aiming for full season. But I don't know about the prospects of more podium positions, because I really feel that that the level of it is a really strong level of drivers driving now, and feel like I've been standing still, and others have been moving forward, becoming faster. So I find it really tough to keep up with all the other guys. So, but let's see how it goes.
I mean, outside of you, there's only one person we've always say this, there's only one person who's had more starts on a broadcast in IMSA Vintage, and of course there's Aitor, who's not here today. You are really one of those veterans, which let's talk about next week. You want to be doing the full, you say you're back for the full season. It's a classic next week. It's Interlagos. I remember the last few times we've been there. What are your thoughts about that? Because it's a track everybody loves.
It's a fun track to drive, and you can also have some fun battles. It can also go terribly wrong. I remember one incident with I don't remember if it was Ferran or Aitor, but we were going side by side, and we had some net code and ended badly for me. But you can have really good battles there, so I'm looking forward to it.
Well, we're looking forward to it. We're looking forward to seeing you as well. Laus, I hope you have a good holiday this week, and we look forward to seeing you next time at Interlagos. But you can put your feet up right now and just enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Thanks.
Laus Olsen, who comes home on the podium, up 5 places today. And that's going to be it for the day. And I want to give a shout out, of course, to Jeremy, Daniel, and Dougie, of course, for everything we have brought. Next week, now, Jeremy, next week, we were just saying it's Interlagos. I don't know about you, but there's always magic when we come to that track.
Absolutely love Interlagos more times than not, because anything special happens. So many great passing opportunities, and of course with that second sector, it just makes it for an absolutely fantastic track. Can't wait to see what happens.
Well, the last time I was on a broadcast at Interlagos, magic happened, and it's always going to happen. And I think we might need a little bit of Christmas magic next weekend. But of course, don't forget what's happening the rest of the week, because it is Christmas coming up, so you're not going to be seeing anything in the middle of the week. But tomorrow we do have the Lotus 79s at Laguna, and then we'll do it all again one more time this year. Next Saturday, Grand Prix Legends will take Sandown. The IMSA Vintage we were just talking about will go to Interlagos, and the classic Lotus to 79th the following Sunday, not next Sunday because that's tomorrow, goes to Donington. And sorry to sound horrible, it's still not the best layout. Commentator's opinion there, but that doesn't matter. What matters is it was a Christmas miracle. Laus Olsen gets onto the podium. Valenteus, absolutely dominant today. What about Noel Lundberg? The drivers are trying to stamp their authority out there in the early days. But next week, we'll settle the men and women from the boys and girls as we go to Interlagos. Until next time, enjoy Christmas and race clean, race hard, and we will see you on the track.
This is iRacing.